So if you want improvements in your interpersonal relationships, if you want to have the romance of your dreams, whatever it is you want, that in terms of your relationships, interpersonal relationships, one very simple yet very powerful thing that you could do consistently every day starting today would be to practice forgiveness. And then people will say, oh, but I don't know how. Well, yes, because you haven't been practicing. You see, like, so if you say, well, I don't know how and therefore I can't, then you never will. Imagine if you said, if somebody said, well, it would be it will be helpful for you to learn to read, and you say, well, but I can't. I've looked at the page of this mumbo jumbo and I can't make heads or tails of it, so I just can't do it. If that was your attitude, and you just continued with that attitude, would you read today? No, you would not, because you would have just insisted that you cannot. So we all start from a position of not knowing how. That's always the case when we're learning. We're always starting from not knowing how. If you knew how, then you wouldn't need to learn, right? I mean, that kind of, I'm laughing because it's so obvious once you realize it, right? Like if you already knew how, you would not need to learn. The fact that you don't know how just indicates that you need to learn the if you want the benefit. So, so with anything that you don't yet know how to do, it can be useful to just start to question your thinking and your attitudes about it and realize that uh, if it's something that is possible for anybody, it's likely possible for you. So it's not that you can't, it's just that you have not yet done it, right? It's not that I can't forgive or I don't know how, that I'm incapable of forgiveness or that forgiveness is too hard or any of those things. It's just I have not yet gained mastery over this skill of forgiveness. But other people are able to do it, therefore I can as well. And how will I achieve that? By taking consistent steps, consistent small steps. So I could just start with, I mean, first of all, you could read some books, you could watch some YouTube videos. I mean, maybe that's useful. However, you still have to put it into practice. And so this is another mistake that people make is they say, well, if I'll just get enough information, that will do this for me. But imagine somebody telling you how, you say, well, I'd really like to know what it's like to eat an orange, but I don't know what it is to eat an orange. I've never eaten an orange, so I don't know what that is. So I'm going to go ask a bunch of people. I'm going to read some books about the experience of eating an orange. You could do that, but you could also just eat the orange. So the experience always is superior to just getting information. But in some cases, getting some information can be useful. Not with eating an orange, obviously, just eating the orange is probably useful. But when it comes to something like forgiveness, if you just say, gee, I genuinely have no clue where even to begin. Okay, getting some basic tips on how to start could be useful, but still just start taking the small steps. Once you have a basic starting point, start taking the steps, because if you don't, then you're fooling yourself. Because the real benefits come from consistently taking the small steps. So with this example of forgiveness, how might you do that? Well, just notice the burden of not forgiving. Notice how much effort goes into not forgiving. The resentment, the grievances, the all of that you just keep going over and over and over, holding on to. Notice how much effort goes into that. Notice how exhausting that is. Notice how painful that is. And then invite yourself to notice, might there be a possibility of something other than that? And what might that be like? Could you, for one moment, allow yourself to consciously let go, right? Could you just say, okay, I acknowledge that I have all of these grievances and all of these reasons why I believe that I should not and cannot forgive. However, even though I have all of those reasons, I'm willing just for one moment, just at least as an experiment, to find out what might it be like if I consciously choose to let go, just for one instant. And just allow yourself that, just for one instant, allow yourself to let go. And if you say, I don't know how to let go, well, what if you did? So I understand you might say, I don't know. Fine, maybe you don't know. But what if you did know? What might you do? How might you explore that if you did know? Or if somebody did know, if you knew somebody who knew, what might they do to let go? So you can just start to try on these possibilities, and it will open you up so that you can start to have some kind of experience. And it might not be a big experience. It might be a big experience, but more likely it will be a small experience. And if it is a big experience, then more likely than not, the next time you do it, it won't be a big experience, because most of the time they're small experiences. So if you think, in order to forgive, I have to have some kind of huge heart opening, and the clouds have to part, and there has to be angels choirs, and I have to just feel like all my sins have been washed away, hallelujah. Boy, you're going to be holding out for a long time. But what if you could just give yourself permission to just explore this possibility of, even though I have these grievances, even though I have all of these hurts, I choose in this moment just to explore the possibility of letting go just for one instant. And just notice what that's like just for one instant.